Hey everybody, welcome to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, mixingmadeeasy.net, and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we're going to take a look at another plugin. And this company, Nomad Factory, has a really cool drum channel strip called the Drum Tools plugin. And this will do everything from working on individual drums to a drum bus and everything in between. So we're going to dive in. We're going to take a look at this. This is a great plugin to get your drums up and sounding great very, very quickly. But before we get to that, hit that subscribe button if you like what you see in this video. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Also, make sure you go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, get your 5 free mixing training courses. That's my gift to you for visiting homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And then also check out mixingmadeeasy.net if you really want to learn the craft of mixing. If you're a beginner or an intermediate level mixer or home recording musician, mixingmadeeasy.net is something you definitely want to check out. So go there and check it out today. So let's jump here into Studio One and let's take a look at this Drum Tools plugin by Nomad Factory. Now, Nomad Factory makes a lot of really cool plugins, and we're going to take a look at those in the upcoming months. But this one in particular I really like. There are lots of companies that make different types of drum channel strips such as this, and most of them kind of sound kind of in my opinion. This is one of the first ones I've actually used where I've actually said this really sounds good, and this is something I would absolutely use. This is kind of an all-in-one, under the hood. You want to get your drums up and running really, really quickly and get some great drum sounds. You can do it all inside of one plugin. You don't have to have multiple EQs and compressors and gates and filters. It's all built into this one plugin. So we're gonna look at this video on a drum bus, and then where you can go ahead and you can demo it and you can experiment on the individual drum tracks. But let me first walk you through the layout of this plugin and kind of show you how the signal flows through it, because that's the one thing that you need to kind of wrap your head around. And it's all in the manual, but we're going to walk through it. So the first thing, that when the signal comes into the plugin, in this case we have it on a drum bus, okay? And it's the only plugin that we have. The first place the signal hits is down here in the left-hand corner. It hits the gate section down here, okay? And you turn the gate on and off with this little toggle switch here. You can see in and out. The blue LED represents that it's on. And then you have the choices above this right here where this says a relaxed gate. If you click on that, you have a moderate gate, an aggressive gate, an E fast gate, an E relaxed, and an E gentle gate. So you have some different gate choices and settings. And then you have a min and a max here that you can use to turn it up or down, okay? So that's your gate. And then from there, it comes over here to the compressor section next to it here. Again, a min and a max. Once again, you turn it on and off here with this little toggle switch here, in and out, okay? And you have different types of compressor types. You have a natural, a vintage, a modern, a pumper, an impact, a punchy, and a dirty. Okay, so you can select the kind of compressor sound that you want. And then from here, you go to the drum select section, which is over here on the left-hand side. And as I said a few minutes ago, you can do everything from kick drums. They have snare drums, toms, hats, overheads, and then a drum set, which is what we're going to look at here in this video for the drum bus. And when you click on one of these drum selectors, it automatically will give you some basic EQ settings, some compression settings, and kind of dial it in for you. So again, you don't have to start from complete scratch, although you can keep it on the default preset. You could tweak this thing to your heart desires. But the way I kind of like to use these kinds of plugins is you're going to pick your drum type and let the plugin kind of get you in the ballpark, and then depending on the source material, you can tweak it in from there. So that's where the signal will go next after the compressor. Then from there, it comes over here to the center section here, this modeling section, which you turn on and off by clicking on the modeling button. And this kind of gives you different types of tape machines and saturation here. So you can see we have 15 IPS per second, 30 IPS per second. We have a bunch of different things here, and we'll cycle through all of these. Then from there, the signal goes down to the lows right here, down here on the bottom, the low EQ, and then over to the highs. Oh, and on the lows, again, we have a drop-down menu. We have a sub, full mix, make room, and a low-end trick, okay? Then it comes over, and again, you turn it on and off with this little toggle switch. And then the same thing over here, it'll flow to the highs next. And again, we have presence, clarity, and air. Okay, and we can turn that on and off here as well. Then from there, it goes to the saturation, which is over here next to the modeling section on the left-hand side. We have two different types of saturation that they modeled, a tube type and a solid state type right here. So you can just turn that on and off here, and then you can dial this in. And again, we'll listen to this, and you'll get a chance to hear how all this stuff sounds. Then from there, it goes down to the reverb, okay? And the reverb is where the signal will flow next. Once again, you could turn it on and off here, and then you have this drop-down box where you have Berlin, Paris, Los Angeles, Manhattan, Tokyo, and London. My guess is they modeled some drum live rooms, which is really cool, and so they call it reverb, but my guess is it's more of a room modeling type of a thing, okay? And then you can dial that in, min and max. From the reverbs, it comes over to our filter section directly above here. We have low pass and high pass filters, which we could turn on and off here. And then from there, it goes to the out compressor here. It goes to the out compressor on the way out here, which is up here, okay, down here or up here. And then it comes over to the clipper, which is here. And then we also have a hard and a soft knee here for the compressor here as well. We have our gain reduction meters, in, out, and gain metering, in, out, and gain reduction for GR. And that is the basic, the basic layout of the plugin. So once you understand the way the signal kind of flows, as I showed you, and again, it's all under PDF manual, it'll tend to make sense. But if you don't even want to know about any of that, and you just want to get your drums up and running quickly, we can do that. So here we have a loop of just drums. And again, it's in bypass mode right now. So if I play back this, this little drum section here, okay, so that's a raw drum track. There's no other processing. This whole session doesn't have a single plug on it except for this Drum Tools plugin. So we just kind of threw up, the kick, the snare, kind of did a quick little static mix, and then I threw this on the bus. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're just going to come down to drum sets. Now, if we click drum set, watch the way some of the knobs just kind of move. Okay, here we go, drum set, and then we can come up here, first off, to the presets, and in here they have some cool presets, okay? So if we come down to the drum sets, we have a mix 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we just go to mix 1, you can see how now we've got some different sections of the plugin that is on, and you can have some different settings here. So for example, our compressor is here, it's on a modern compressor setting. Our low end, our EQ is on, and they boosted up the low end to about 50% here. And then we have the highs here. We have it on the clarity setting. There's no reverb being turned on. There's no filtering being turned on, but we have some tube saturation that you can see here. Okay, and then we have the modeling on as well. So let's start with bypass, and then I'm just going to turn on the drum set on drum mix 1. And let's just hear what it sounds like. So here's the raw drums. That's bypass. Keep your eye on the button up here. So right away you can hear drum mix 1, you can hear some clarity, some thickness to the low end of that kick drum and the low toms. And it just kind of gives it a little more life, a little more punch. We didn't really do anything. We just kind of balanced the faders and threw this on and picked the preset. It sounds pretty good. So now let's go ahead and let's just cycle through a few of the presets here. So we have drum mix 1, I'll go to drum mix 2, 3, and 4, and in between those I will bypass. So just keep your eye on the button up here, the bypass button, and I will cycle between bypass and drum set. So right now we're on mix 1 and we'll cycle through the presets. Okay, so once you find a preset, and this is how I like to use this plugin. Once you find a preset, I kind of like drum mix 1 as compared to 2, 3, and 4. And it's totally dependent on the music and the way the drums were recorded, so on and so forth. Then you could come in here and you could just tweak things a little bit to your heart's content. So if we wanted to start off, let's see, with the modeling, and let's just bypass the modeling on and off and see what that does to the overall sound of this drum kit. That's with no modeling. So it makes a big difference in the low end, right? 30 IPS per second. So now I'm going to cycle through some of this and I won't talk in between these things. And you could hear the different modeling things that they have here. Okay, so I personally like the 30 IPS per second. That's the tape speed, tape modeling, where it gives a real nice thickness, especially to those toms during that little tom breakdown. Now from there, you could come over to things like saturation. We could tweak that a little bit. We could even tweak our compressor or even our highs and our lows. And we could even put a little reverb on that. So let's do that. Let's do that as well. So we'll start with the saturation. Let's see what the difference between tube and solid state is. Start to hear some of the distortion and the breakup in the kick drum in the toms. Let's do solid state. Okay, so on the solid state saturation side, you can hear that in the more upper frequency ranges where it tends to break up a lot faster, or on the tube side, it's more breaking up on the low frequencies and you can crank it up quite a bit higher. You could push it a little bit more. So again, depending on the source material will depend on what you'd want to use it for, if you want to use it at all. I kind of like the tube. So no saturation, too much. Let's come down to our compressor. No compression. And you can see the little LED here. This compressor works with this LED right underneath the little drop-down box here. See that? These meters up here work with the outgoing compressor. There's like two compressors in this plugin. So let's switch between the modern, let's switch these around and let's just see, just by changing the compression or the type of compression, what it does to our drum kit. And I'll keep everything kind of at 50% right up the middle here. Let's try this. Nice. Kind of like the pumper. Okay, so right out of the bat, and one of the things that is kind of a telltale sign of some of these plugins is when you choosing different types of presets like this, or different types of compression in this particular case, you can hear that they're very musical and there's very subtle differences between them. A lot of times you'll get plugins, especially on the cheaper side, and even the free ones and some of the real low cost plugins where they're like this, channel strips, where you make changes in the presets or different parts of the plugin and there's this massive audible difference. And they're overly hyped. And most of the stuff is unusable in the real world. Where something like this, the Drum Tools by Nomad Factory, is very musical. And all these settings are very, very musical. And they're all very usable. They're very subtle differences. So you need to really be listening to this on a good set of headphones or studio monitors. I should have said at the beginning of the video. But you can tell there's just very subtle differences and they're very musical. And that's one of the things I really love about this plugin. So that's our compression on the pumper. Let's go ahead. Let's play with the lows a little bit. This is the low end trick. Let's see what happens if we, fool around with the settings here. And I'll do the same things on the highs and just kind of tweak around so you can hear the difference. So here we go. Okay, so again, very musical between the different types of settings within this particular parameter, the highs and the lows. I like the low end trick on the lows. It gives it that nice deep, thick punch on the kick drum. And then this, clarity, it opens up the whole kit a little bit more. And again, I'm dialing this back a little bit more and pumping up a little bit of the lows, because keep in mind, again, there's no other plugins on any of the individual drum tracks. This is only just raw tracks with this one plugin. If you were to put this plugin on all the different tracks and kind of tweak it in, by the time you got to the bus, you may even be a little more subtle with some of these settings. Now let's check out the reverb and see what they got going on here. Just to add a little bit of space to this thing. We already have some room mics as part of this drum kit. So we already got that room sound that's not completely dry, but let's just see if we add a touch of it, how it does. So we're going to turn it on here. We'll start with the Berlin and I'll cycle through them. So here we go. Kind of like that. Nice. So again, it's you can hear the tail there. It's really emulating the room sound of different studios. And what I really like about this too is not only can you bypass the entire plugin, it shuts everything off, which we'll do in a second here, to remind us where we started, but you can also just turn off the individual modules just to hear the subtle differences. So now I'm going to play this back just a little bit, and then we're just going to bypass the plugin again and just see where we started. So here's with the processing we've done thus far. We took a preset, drum mix 1. We tweaked in the compressor, the lows, the highs, the reverbs. Did a little bit saturation in the modeling, and here's what we got. This before, no processing. After. Nice. bypassed. There's our room tail. You can hear it. So, I mean, this thing sounds really, really good. I'm really impressed with this. I don't have a lot of experience with Nomad factory plugins, but I've recently have reached out to them, and they're sending me a bunch of stuff to try out. And I've been playing with this one, and I like this one. I like this one a real lot. Who would use this kind of plugin? Well, again, if you're someone who's maybe doing some demo work, you're just writing some songs, got some demos together, whether you're using software drums like, Easy Drum or Superior Drummer, this is a great addition to it. This particular thing we're looking at or listening to today are real live acoustic drums. You could throw this just on a bus and just dial in something very, very quickly. So we're working with demo tracks where you don't want to spend a lot of time mixing and you want to throw this thing up and just get something that's really usable. This is great. You can also use this as a full mix. If you have drums that are recorded well, like in this case, you don't have to put EQ and compressors and tape saturations and all that stuff on all the different tracks. You can just drop this on the bus and you can get going very, very quickly. It saves a lot of time in the mixing stage. Great for, again, people just writing songs, demos, writing tracks, want a great drum sound, and so much more. I mean, it's just really, really good. It's really, really musical, and I really like this. And if Nomad Factory, if their other plugins are as good as this one, this could be a company to definitely check out. And again, you can use this on the kick, on the snare, on the toms, on the hats. You can do all of that, and you can put this on every individual track and then as well put it on the drum bus, and you could even dial it in even further. So I'll leave a link in the description box below if you want to go check this out. Again, this is a good one. I think this can be like kind of an all-in-one drum tool and something that's really cool to having your mixing and recording toolkit, as it were. It's something you can get some really great sound. So I hope you found this video helpful and informative. Again, go check it out. Click the link in the description box below. For more videos like these, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm posting new content. And once again, go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, get your 5 free mixing training courses, head on over to mixingmadeeasy.net, check out what I have going on over there if you really want to learn the craft of mixing, where you'll see me use these kinds of plugins in an entire mix from start to finish. We can really dive down deep and experiment, and you want to see how we put all these tools to use in a real world application. Then mixingmadeeasy.net is for you. Leave some comments below. Let me know what you thought about this video, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.